Iranian woman snatches cleric's turban in bold airport protest. I haven't even gotten the opportunity to talk to Armin about this behind the scenes because I've been traveling. So this is going to be like the first time we talk about this, and I've been itching. Okay. In a stunning act of defiance, an Iranian woman went viral after confronting a cleric who chastised her for not wearing a hijab at Tehran's Mehrabad airport, snatching off his turban and wrapping it around her head as a hijab in protest. I love this video so much. So then she shouted, "So you have honor now?" She mocked before shouting at the onlookers, "Oh, Iranian men, I shit on your honor." The confrontation, caught on video and widely shared, comes amid growing resistance to Iran's mandatory hijab laws, which the regime has struggled to enforce. While state media dismissed the incident as actions of a woman with psychological issues, Iranians on social media hailed it as a bold act of defiance, with one user writing, quote, "Men can never understand the immense pressure a woman faces that leads her to rebel." Though she was briefly detained, the woman's defiant gesture has cemented her place in Iran's ongoing fight for women's rights and freedom. Okay, so should we just roll a clip?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's watch it all the way through, like, it completely,
Okay.
and then if you wanna go back and translate some of what she's saying, we'll do that second. Sound good?
Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Wow, this is pretty intense.
Yeah.
This blew up. This blew up on Iranian social media. Blew up, and I still, every time I see it, it still amazes me. That is intense. This
You
part.
know,
Watch
no,
this part.
so you're gonna give us the analysis about what they're saying on Persian social media, like, after. Let's do a blow by blow replay.
Okay, sounds good.
Where's
With
the
audio?
audio?
No, yeah, with
There
audio.
we go.
Look, she's look at this. She's walking so defiantly. Look, with so assertively. Look at, she's walking. She's walking like, yeah, as if she's about to attack. Look at her. The walk. Okay, so I know I'm maybe overanalyzing this, but to me as an Iranian, this walk, even for the very few seconds, to me is pretty so mind-blowing, right? Because I grew up in Iran in a society where when you saw a mullah, you would be afraid. You would walk away. You would try to respect so that you don't get in trouble. The fact that instead of walking away or being afraid, you're walking like this aggressively towards the mullah as a way to challenge him. This is not the Iran I recognize. The Iran I recognized 20 years ago when I left Iran. This is not the same Iran at all. So now look at it. Now she's in his face.
Dude.
Look at that mullah. She's in his face. Okay, so my understanding is that this mullah had said something to this woman about not wearing the hijab, right? That's my understanding. And now she takes off his hijab, his turban, and uses his turban as a hijab to see, like, okay, is this what you wanted? So watch this. Okay, well, this part is like, the guy's like, how is this happening to me? What has this is okay? I'm gonna tell you what this mullah is thinking. Okay, I'm not sure if this is what he's thinking, but this is what he's thinking. Okay, he's thinking, what the hell is happening to this country? How is this? How is she daring to do this to me? Why is she? What happened to our position? What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're supposed to rule this country, and this random girl without a hijab is coming and removing my turban. Like, what the hell? Like, yeah, he's very at ease. Like, how shocked was he? Very, very much. Oh, like, yeah. Don't worry. So now she's putting the turban on her head. He said, he said Shia Ali. Wow. So she said something about Ghairat, and then she said Shia Ali, which means Ali's your Ali's Shia, Ali the first Imam of Shia Islam. Guys, so this is when people outside of Iran, the leftists try to act like this is about freedom, it's about choosing, but it's not anti-Islam. Bullshit. Okay, she's actively mocking his religion. So this is not just about women's right to not wear or wear what they want. This is aggressively anti-Islamic. Shia Ali, she clearly is mocking his Islam, is mocking his religion. Yeah. And like, there you go. I tell you all. It's like, so he's saying, read them as I was, but he's saying, oh, men of Iran, read them beqayratatun. I think qayrat, you see, because she didn't say, guys, Iranians in the chat, because the audio is not very good. Is that what she's saying? Read them beqayratatun? Because he was talking, so you have qayrat, Shia Ali, and then he says, I shit on all your qayrat. So qayrat is a hard thing to translate to English. It's an Islamic concept where men have to have it's sometimes wrongfully is translated to men being protective over women, but it's actually controlling women. As if you want to whitewash what it means in English, it's being protective. Men in the Islamic Muslim men being protective over women. That's what they act like that. What that means, but it's basically controlling women, making sure other men are not looking at them, making sure that they're inside the house, making sure that they're completely covered, making sure that you hurt somebody if they, if they are, attracted to your sister, mother, or your daughter, or if your sister wants to go out partying, you as a brother or as a father or as a son, you become very aggressive and very annoyed and very, as they call it, protective, but we call it controlling. So this concept of gayrat, it's, yeah, people are saying honor. Again, these are how people translate it into English, but it's not honor, it's not being protective, it's controlling woman's body, right? So a lot of
They
Iranian
translate
women,
it as
yeah,
jealous zeal.
jealous zeal. Yes, perfect, perfect translation, perfect translation. Yeah. So she's saying, all men of Iran, I shit on your gayrat, right? Which is very interesting because Muslims try to sell qairat as something that is good for women because it's
Mhm.
protecting them. But this woman is saying, I shit on all your qairat. So the concept of qairat and namus are in Iran are concepts that are more and more are being. They used to be positive things, even among non-religious, secular-minded people. They didn't understand that this comes from Islam. I mean, they understood it, but they thought that, well, it's a good thing even if it's Islamic, or they didn't think about it as an Islamic concept, right? So even among non-Islamic Iranians, just a few years ago, the concept of qairat and namus used to be seen as a positive thing. You could see, like, even brothers who are not religious, they would try to um, virtue signal their manhood by being very aggressively trying to control their sister or their daughter or whatever woman in their life were, right? But now, in the past couple of years, these are being seen as Islamic, outdated, backward concepts, and you can see that this woman is just saying "I shit on your ghairat." Shows that these concepts that used to be seen positive even by most of most of Iranians, even non-religious ones, the things are shifting. People are correctly recognizing that these are absolutely backward, outdated concepts.
Toxicity.
Okay, let's continue. Oh, you send me a link? Okay.
Oh, I thought
Let's
that we should
continue.
show that compilation for context later.
Okay. And then she's like, how many mikhas? How many mikhas? Like, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
Faces on everyone around are like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. So Navid is her husband. Now she's calling her. I don't know what happened to her husband. Did they take her husband? But she's now calling out for her husband.
Yeah, so based on English translations that was being reported in media, she was like then yelling for her husband, being like, "Where's my husband? Where's my man? Like, what did you do with him?" Dot dot dot. And we don't have enough context from what was filmed to know like what that was referring to. But
so let me tell you what the new strategy by the Islamic Republic is with these people, with these kind of people who stand up, because there's a new trend. Okay, it used to be that when somebody did something like this, the regime will come, they will arrest them, they will give them heavy prison sentences, and many times they would get tortured.
and then do a forced confession where they make it obvious that they tortured you on purpose so that everyone sees what happens to you, and then they see you doing the forced confession, and it's all everything is said without being said.
Yes.
Really barbaric.
So that was the previous strategy, but the regime, those strategies has backfired. Every time the regime did that to somebody, that person became a symbol, that person became a hero, and that person became a reason for more people to stand up against the regime. So when the regime tried to use fear by maybe like really torturing somebody or making them come and give a forced confession, people recognized that the forced confessions were lies, and emboldened more people to stand up against the regime. So it backfired. So the new strategy is to arrest them, declare them mentally ill, and then free them. Right. So why do you think that's the strategy that the regime is using?
Well, because it's a way to delegitimize them by using the stigma of a diagnosis against them, and to just chalk it up to the actions of someone who is not in full control of their faculties, then actually give it any legitimacy by cracking down on it. Like by cracking down on it and putting them through hell, it's actually legitimizing them and turning them into a public symbol, turning them into a public figure that actually grants them great legitimacy. And so this is an easier way to actually delegitimize them.
But the thing is that doesn't get that the regime knows that the anti-regime Iranians, which is most Iranians, would not believe that narrative. So that narrative is not for the anti-regime Iranians. That narrative is for the pro-regime Iranians to justify releasing her, right? So they are two crowds that the Islamic Republic is in between, and Islam basically is stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Every time somebody does something like this, they look at the anti-regime people and they think the Islamic Republic thinks, well, how could I make less of these people do such things? Should I scare them? Okay, they try to scare them, it didn't work. Well, if I release them, maybe these people would be like I could actually advertise, look, we didn't do anything to these people, so please calm down, I'm not as bad, right? The regime is like, look, guys, I'm not as bad. Please don't topple me. I'm releasing these people. Okay, so that's the. But if the regime does that, because you might think as an outsider, well, if the regime is so worried about the people toppling it, why not just chill the fuck out and let these people, like, just free them and don't oppress them, don't torture them? Okay, but the problem is that for the regime is that if the regime did that, then the pro-regime people, which the regime cares more about, which is a minority, but it's an important minority, it's the last base that the regime has, they would be like, what the fuck? This woman just came out with a hijab. This is in Mehrabad airport. This was at Mehrabad airport in Tehran. She's walking without a hijab in the airport. She's attacking a holy man, okay, right? And you released her? How is this? Wallahi, this is not an Islamic land. Wallahi, you guys are Zionists. Wallahi, this country has been taken over by Israel. The Zionists have taken over. I do not recognize this country as Islamic anymore. What if this is not why we bled for? This is not
This is
the
not what we
reason why
give martyrs for.
This is not what we give martyrs for. This is not why we did an Islamic revolution. It was an Islamic revolution. We removed the Shah to bring an Islamic government. What the hell
Why
is
the fuck did we
happening?
fight
Why-
Saddam?
Yes. Why are the officials asleep? Why are the officials not enforcing Islamic law? They must be Zionists? And I'm not joking. That's the explanation that these religious people have, that the Zionists have found a way to infiltrate the Iranian government, and they think most of, if not many of Iranian officials who are releasing this woman are basically Zionist spies, right? Including the current president. That's actually the official narrative by a lot of the pro-regime
Honestly, it
people.
kind of makes sense.
Right. So the reason why the regime says, okay, this woman just be crazy, we cannot arrest her because she's mentally ill, is to come up with a justification to the pro-regime religious hardliners for why they released her. They know most of the nation doesn't believe what they say, but they also know how stupid half of their followers are. They're like, okay, the anti-regime people, we have lost them forever, but we have to say this woman is mentally ill so that maybe we know how crazy our supporters are. This will work with some of them, and they're right. We had
It's hilarious because it's so true.
Yeah. I have a video. If I wish I had that ready. I will show it in another stream where there's a mullah coming here. What's it? Oh yeah, an Artashi, a religious hardliner, coming out complaining. You know, Ahu Daryai, who stripped naked, and they arrested her. They also released her, saying that she's mentally ill. Okay, and there was this religious person. I think it was a mullah. It was a religious guy. Oh yeah, it was a religious guy. It was a mullah. It was an ahund. Okay, he's saying that we went and dug this up. She was first of her class. They're lying to us. The mullah was saying the regime is lying to us. She's not mentally ill. She was top of her class.
She's valedictorian.
So she was so angry.
You're telling me
like,
this
why
woman doesn't have her shit together?
The mullah was like, we did our research. She's not crazy. She was top of her class. Arrest her. Arrest her. Why are you freeing her? Oh
so
god.
funny.
I will find that video. I will show it to you guys on another stream. Okay, so make sure you subscribe.
I will never get over how hilarious it is when the RGCs and the religious hardliners are like realizing how much the regime just lies to their face to keep them satisfied. It's hysterical. It's so embarrassing.
They have it. The religious hardliners who are pro-regime, they have a new term for that. they say مگه ما اسکل نظامیم, which means, do you think we're regimes idiots? That's what they, it's actually a
Yes.
funny term that they use. Yeah, they're like, the regime is a lot of these are pro regime hardliners that are saying, they're saying that the regime thinks of us as useful idiots, and we're being treated as useful idiots, and some of them have realized that, which is really, something. This is and then,
There's a
yeah,
vibe
but there are,
shift. There is a vibe
there's a,
shift happening.
yes, yes, yes. There's also a lot of pro regime people are coming to these people and saying, shh. They're like, guys, we have to submit to this, or else we will turn on each other and everything will fall apart. They are
But they're
secretly,
also kind of right. Here's
yes,
the
they are
thing.
secret.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They're not wrong.
Yes. Yeah, there are some of them who are saying we have to be the idiots of the regime, or else this whole thing will fall apart. They're going to the other pro-regime people who are calling out the regime for lying out to them. They're saying, what is the alternative? Do you understand that if you stand up against the regime and you call them out for not enforcing the hijab, for being
Mm-hmm.
weak against Israel, if this regime falls, we will not even get this. You think the alternative to the Islamic Republic is going to be a more, if this falls, you're going to get a more Islamic regime than this? You will never get that. This is the best that we could get so far. They're saying, let's just slowly make this regime more Islamic, because if we lose this whole nation will become fully secular, and this will be our last chance. So, oh yeah. So people are
Man,
pointing out.
man.
Yeah.
But Armin, I want to hear what was the reaction on social media from Barandazi people to this incident.
Oh, there were people are welcoming. I'm happy that more and more Barandos people are getting it, becoming united on supporting stuff like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it used to be like, when Ahu Daryai took off most of her clothes, right? What happened was, I was afraid that, because some Iranian people, Barandos people will come like, yes, support her, but some Iranian people will say like, no, that's too much. Why is she showing so much skin? Yes, we should be anti-regime, but she's taking it too far. And I saw a little bit of that, but not as much as before. Most Barandos people were like, we're supporting her fully. Most
Mm-hmm.
Barandos people, okay. Um, there was unfortunately some people who were saying, yeah, actually, I have to be honest. Some Barandas people were saying that she's a regime plant, that the regime. Okay, so the reason some Barandas people, unfortunately, have this conspiracy theory that women like this, Ahudaria and this woman, for example, are regime plants because the regime makes them do this and then releases them to try to convince the Iranian people and the international community, look, we're not as bad. A woman who took off her hijab and attacked a mullah, or a woman like Ahu Daryoi who took off her entire clothes, um, we released them. So you are gonna act like we're this dictatorial, evil regime that is so brutal. But even a woman who goes that far are just getting released with a slap on the wrist with no major punishments, right? So some Barandos people think that these women are planted by the regime itself, just so that regime could send that message as a way to avoid being toppled. However,
Mm-hmm.
the correct analysis is not that the regime wants this, because if people see that they're not getting arrested, that they're not being remaining arrested for a long time, more people are going to do this. This is not going to work out in the favor of the regime. The actual correct analysis of why these people are being released is because the regime is afraid of the people. The regime is less equipped to deal with the people. It's the opposition, the number of people who are defying the regime are just too many, and the regime is afraid of the backlash. That is the actual reason why these women are being released,
Mm-hmm.
not this conspiracy theory that some people are coming up with.
One thing that I find very counterproductive about conspiracies and accusations of controlled opposition that do happen a lot within Iranian opposition circles is that because someone was released from jail, or because they maybe weren't tortured as bad as another person, or,
Mm,
or maybe because they weren't executed, or maybe because they were released from jail, or maybe because they've never been to jail, or maybe because their family has never been persecuted on their behalf, ratata,
mhm.
all of these reasons and more, then that means that they're actually controlled opposition for the regime. And this is very counterproductive because then you are actually doing the work of delegitimizing activists for the regime, and that plays into their hands. So like the Islamic Republic does a lot of psychological operations, and they're not nearly in foreign interference. They do a lot of them. Personally, I do not think they, as in terms of foreign interference, they are as sophisticated as the Russians, for example. That
Right.
being said, I think that the psychological operations that the Islamic Republic does on Iranians, domestic and in the diaspora, is more sophisticated. And excuse me, this is one of those examples where they play into this narrative by not going after someone, because if they don't go after someone, then they are delegitimized in the eyes of the public, saying, oh, you must be with them because they haven't gone after you, or they didn't go after you as hard, or they released you early, so on and so forth. Like Armin has been accused himself of being part of the regime, of being, he's been accused of being controlled opposition because they haven't gone after him. You know what I mean? So um I find that narrative very, very counterproductive, because you're playing exactly into the kind of psyops that they like to do on the diaspora and the opposition. Um did that make sense? I know it probably made
Yeah,
sense
no.
to you, Armin, but
Yeah, no, it made complete sense. But and to confirm what you're saying, I think the regime, what the regime might be doing is that to turn the opposition. So it we as the people who are against the regime, we are called the barandos people. Okay, we benefit when the regime turns on itself. When we have some pro-regime people turning against other pro-regime people, this is I think this is the best chance that we have for the regime to topple when they turn on each other, right? Uh, but it also works the other way. The anti-regime people, when they turn on each other, that benefits the regime. And I think one way the regime tries to turn the Barandos people against each other is by treating some of them differently than the others, right? So the regime, for example, whoever is pro monarchy or pro Pahlavi, they treat them on average worse in prison than people who are not who are the opposition against the regime, but are not pro monarchy or pro Pahlavi. And that way, a lot of pro Pahlavi and monarchist people would think that maybe these other people are with the regime. Why are they getting such a great treatment in jail relative to how badly the pro Pahlavi people are being treated in jail? For example, this woman called her name is Fatima Saperi, and she's being really treated badly in prison. She's one of
yeah.
the most bravest Iranian women against the regime, and because she has said favorable things about Reza Pahlavi, and in the monarchist, being treated more aggressively in prison, and this is I think a mind game that the regime is playing, so that the anti-regime people turn their finger, like they turn their accusations against each other. You're with the regime, you're with the regime. You know how we have so many people are saying like, oh, you're a Zionist, no, you're a Zionist, you're a Zionist.
Mhm.
We the anti-regime people, Iranians, some of them unfortunately have that as well. We just like, oh no, you we have this. To be fair to the anti-regime people, we have had situations where we trusted somebody and it ended up being actually a pro-regime agent, and that's why now everybody is skeptical of everyone else, and they're pointing fingers and people, and it's for their own security as well, because a lot of the opposition is still in Iran, and it's hard to trust people because they might actually end up being a pro-regime person, and if you tell them things, they will use all that evidence against you, and then you're effed for many years in prison or execution. So it's really hard to know who to trust, but it's difficult because some of them are conspiracy theories and some of them are actually correct based on evidence, and it's hard for a lot of people to tell the difference, and that makes the work of the opposition a lot more difficult.
Yeah. No,
So
this
yeah,
is exactly the psyops I'm talking about.
yeah,
They are
but we're getting,
way
but
more
we're
successful
improving,
on
but
that.
we're improving. The anti-regime opposition is improving. We're getting more mature. We're getting like it's a new movement. Remember, up until um Alban, and the bloody Alban,
$20.19. Yeah.
the the Iranian opposition was a reformist operation. It wasn't a toppling operation, right? So this is like a new movement. So again, for against the regime to topple it, and we shouldn't be judged too harshly, because I think we're learning very fast. Like, we're improving. It's a new movement, so just give us some time.
No, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
even just comparing to how things were 2 years ago at the height of
Yeah.
the Massa revolution, it was very, very different than even then. Um,
Yeah.
in fact, we're gonna talk about that a little bit more when we talk about this assassination attempt. I think it ties in a bit.
Right, right, right. Oh, by the way, that assassination attempt that we're going to talk about, it was against somebody that was a monarchist,
Well,
pro-Pahlavi person.
exactly.
So
That's
you
what
see,
I'm oh,
yes,
we'll get into it, guys. We'll get
yeah,
into
yeah. Okay, which are there any comments that they highlighted?
Yeah, so
Oh,
scroll
here.
down. So this person is saying, yeah, these poor women have no more fucks to give. I wish I could help them all. That
Well,
is
you can.
no, but I mean the idea of like people like I just don't care anymore. They're going after it. I feel like a lot of people feel that way.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people are, especially now. I mean, I will tell you why in future streams, but yeah. So here's another comment.
This person is saying if only real men would stand up, this would be over. Why are women the only one resisting, or so it seems to me?
Bullshit.
Okay, I'm gonna
Bull.
actually ooh, ooh, Susanna just got triggered.
Bullshit.
I actually look, this is gonna be an unpopular opinion. Oh, I might oh,
How did
I
this get
actually don't give a shit
246 likes?
I actually don't give a shit personally that much that people are like, "Oh, the woman life freedom revolution is a woman-led the world's first and only women-led revolution." Ratata. Like, I actually personally I don't care that much cuz it's about something that's so much more than that. And when people reduce it to this, and I have personally seen there was an incident that happened in my personal life that left me disgusted to my core, I tell you. Ooh, where they people will openly shit on and sideline the contributions of men in this entire scenario, like just because this started because of a hijab situation. And it's so fucking disgusting because in 2022 and how that movement continued into 2023, the majority of people who sacrificed their lives for the sake of the nation, for the sake of the freedom of Iranian women, were men. The vast majority of the people that were killed, shot dead in the fucking street by the ground forces, by the IRGC, were men.
Yeah.
There were how many children? How many children were murdered during this civil unrest, these anti-government protests. A lot of them. Most of the girls have become iconic for how they lost their lives. The vast majority of them were boys. The vast majority of them were young teenage boys who were murdered, shot dead in the street, or taken to prison, tortured, and graped, where the forces were graping boys, where they'd then be released and do a self-deletion. The
For
vast
what they did
majority,
this for?
the majority of people who were
And for
killed
who?
and died
For
and
the freedom.
sacrificed their life for the whole fucking nation were boys.
Yeah.
So I'm tired of people acting like Iranian men don't contribute shit. It's so insanely disrespectful.
And ungrateful.
So ungrateful. It makes
Imagine
me sick.
somebody going. So many of these men were on the front line of this, taking these bullets, risking their bodies, risking their lives for the sake of every Iranian, including the woman, including the freedom of all these women, for them to be able to right to choose, to right to take control over their lives. And then you don't see all these men dying for Iranian men and women, and the fact that you don't see them is your problem. The fact that you don't see them, that's you. And how did this get 246 likes?
I mean, to be
You're
fair, this
insane.
person probably has like no familiarity. But what makes me angry is people who I know do, where I know that they do. And I even see this on the local level of people organizing in my local community and how I'm involved. They'll literally make jokes, be like, oh, like when this is all said and done, we're only going to have women leaders. Oh, the world would be a better place if we only had women ruling for 100 years. In the presence of men in my local community that have done more to drive the interests of my local community forward than anyone else and done it more successfully than anyone else, saying this shit in front of their face. It fills me with rage. It's so disrespectful and disgusting. And to be honest, I don't even think these fucking bitches like even know what they're saying.
Right.
It makes me so angry. And let me be clear what I'm saying, because I know people are going to try to take it some way. I'm not trying to diminish the contributions of women. Obviously not.
Yeah, I mean, we have Majid Rahnavard, which is one of my personal heroes. But we also have Nika. We also have Sarina. Okay, Nika and Sarina. Nika was a fucking badass hero. She fought until the very end. 3 against 1. A teenage girl alone in the back of a van, hands tied behind her back, 3 men attacking her, and she fought back until the very last second, until she died. Sarina, who died, she was my favorite, not only hero, she was my favorite philosopher, because videos of her YouTube after she died came out where she was talking about her philosophy. And there's one thing that she says in that video. It says our priority should be Rafa, Rafa, Rafa. So I don't know how you translate Rafa. Well-being, I think that would be the best translation. So basically, she was trying to focus everything on the well-being and the people. And I quote her often on the Persian channel. I always say, don't forget the name of Sarina, the words of Sarina. Rafa, Rafa, Rafa. Priority number 1, Rafa. Priority number 2, Rafa. Priority number 3, Rafa. And then, but yet, so Sarina and Nika, love them, celebrate them, remember them. But who could also forget Majid Rahnavar? Majid Rahnavar, the man who also fought to protect his community while it was being attacked by these Basiji radicals. And then when they arrested him, they broke his arm because he had the Shiro Khorshid, the lion sun tattooed on his arm. And then when they interviewed him before they executed him, before they hanged him, he said, they said, do you have any last words to share to people? He said, yes, when after I die, don't read the Quran at my funeral. Play music, celebrate life, be happy. Don't play happy music. Don't play the Quran. His last message before they executed him. That was while he was surrounded by soldiers and people that tortured him, but he still said something that was extremely brave. That's our we remember him. He's a man. Major Susanna is our hero.
We still have
So I don't know.
political
I don't.
prisoners that are being executed for this.
Yes.
Most of them are men.
Yeah, most of the guys. It's true that most of the victims. Most of the victims are men. Let me see how do I translate Rafah into English? Rafah.
I don't know.
It's welfare. Yeah.
I understand why people want to focus on the female aspect of it, obviously, because that's a very visible, it's one of the most visible aspects of this. Women have faced an incredible amount of harassment and sexual assault because of this. It is gender apartheid, straight up. But I'm gonna go toe to toe, and I'm gonna take issue with anyone that acts like Iranian men are just backwards and holding people back. It's really insulting.
2 points actually. A lot of people forget the second part of the chant, okay, of this revolution. So it's Zan Zindagi Azadi, woman, life, freedom, but there's a second part to it. Mad Mihan Abadi, which means men, nation, prosperity. So it's woman, life, freedom, man, nation, prosperity. So that's the full chant. And also the point of focusing on women, when we say woman, life, freedom, is not because the revolution is for women. It's because when the regime uses women as a symbol, puts hijab on women by force as a way to use them to show that it's present, that it's Islamic, that it's capable of controlling the population. When women are being limited in such a way, then when you speak for women and try to give them equal rights and try to liberate them, is because you're doing that for all of society. So in a society where women are being oppressed, when you liberate the most oppressed, you're liberating everybody. This is also why we focus on anti-Jewish hatred. It's not because Jews are special or they're more important than other people in the world, but when Jews and Morteds, for example, people, when you go for the most hated people, you can see a society is advanced and has progressed when Jews are not being threatened there, when Jews are not living in fear there, because they're at the bottom, they're the most oppressed, the most wrong. When you manage to lift them up, when you manage to make them fight against hatred against the Jews, then other forms of hatred and discriminations also get removed because they are the worst. They are at the bottom. They are the most hated. So that's why we focus on women. It's not because women matter more, but a society that treats women equal to men is a society that is best for everyone. A society where Jews anti-Semitism doesn't exist in it or is minimum. It's a society where other forms of bigotry also are less notice or less existence because it's just a better society. So the focus on women and Jews or Mortads or LGBT, these are the people that we see that are most discriminated against. And when we focus on them, it's not because they're special, it's because it's just best for society for them not to be discriminated against.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that
So
make sense?
I'm laughing because that whole talking point made me remember this incident that happened in my personal life, and I was rereading an email I sent to one of my friends about it. I was going off. Uh, so let's go to the super chats, my friend.
Super chats.
Um,
Yes, yes.
Gajan is asking, how do you access Iranian social media? Well, I guess the better question is, how do Iranians access social media? Right? Because
Yeah.
Iranian social media is like Twitter and Instagram, also Telegram, you know,
Telegram. Yeah.
but so those are things that we all have access to. The question is, how do they get access to it? I don't actually through systems of VPNs, right? I actually don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
they just use VPN. Yeah, they just use VPNs. Yeah, Iranian social media is just basically you just follow Iranians on. I mean, I follow the ones that I follow. They're Persian speaking, so and the translations on doesn't really usually do them justice.
Yeah.
So the reason why, yeah, so I follow Iranians on Twitter, Instagram, mostly Telegram. Telegram is the best place. Um, they're also very active on WhatsApp. But yes, these all of these are blocked on in by the government in Iran. And the reason why they're blocked is not why many people might think is the actual reason, because everybody uses VPN in Iran. Everybody is using VPN in Iran, and the fact that these are blocked, the internet like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of them are blocked. The government knows that blocking them is not removing people's access to them because they just get around it through the VPN. But Susie, why do you think that, given that the regime knows that everybody is using VPNs, then why is the regime blocking all of these social media apps? Anybody knows?
Because they don't want everyone to see how popular the discontent is.
No,
No, that
everybody,
doesn't. No,
everybody is
no.
everybody is using VPNs, including the pro-regime people.
Well, I know
Everybody's
that
using VPN.
they have their own VPN that's not actually a VPN. They like track you on it, try to get people to use that.
You're gonna hate them. You're gonna hate this answer. You're gonna hate them even more than before when I tell you,
Oh, God.
because they sell VPNs. The regime sells
Yeah.
VPNs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Navid got it. So they're making money from this. Yes, Alfred. Oh, the Iranian people in the
But
chat
it's
got
not a real
Navid.
VPN, right? Because they can track you on it.
Yeah, but they're cheaper than. They can track you on it, but a lot of Iranians just need access to Instagram and Twitter and
Mhm.
Facebook and YouTube, and the Iranian made VPNs are cheaper than NordVPN and ExpressVPN, so a lot of
Yeah,
people
especially with
buy
the
them.
economy.
Yes, so a lot of people buy them, and the regime makes a lot of money on it. So the regime blocks the internet, to blocks the social media, popular social media apps, just so that it could sell VPN to its own people.
Look, okay. I'm not surprised at all because the economy is bleak. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
this is.
it's bleak.
But
Um
isn't that evil? That's evil. Okay.
Les is just smilingly trying. Thank you for the super chat, my friend, saying love to all my friends here. Look beautiful, Suzanne. Oh, thank you. And saying, Armin, did you release the video of the young woman that asked us to remember her and share her words? I want to share it on my Blue Sky account.
Not yet. I will. I promise. I will try to do that soon. I'm gonna be MIA in 2 or 3 days. I probably will do it after I come back. Okay, but I will try to get that done as soon as possible. Thank you for reminding me. I will do it.
It is coming. Okay.
It's
Oh, and
coming.
all Kenny's saying hi. I just wanted to give a special shout out and
Hi.
appreciation to Kenny, who is an amazing volunteer who helps me out a lot. So thank you, Kenny, who also not only is an amazing volunteer, but gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for everything you do to support us, my friend. Um, Dan Dave is saying Ronnie women are gorgeous. They would win many beauty pageants if they could compete. No wonder Alexander organized mass weddings between Greeks and Persians. Wink.
Yeah, that's not going to be a very popular take by Iranians, to be honest. That last part.
Yeah. I'm like,
But to be fair, Okay, I know a lot of people wouldn't like my take on this because a lot of Iranians would be like, "Oh yeah, Armin, you should say that." But to be fair, every nation has its fair share of beautiful people. So,
Oh, Ronnie Coleman. Armin is also very attractive. Don't get me wrong.
oh, okay, well, I
Hey,
picked that,
Ronnie.
right?
um, Dan gave another super chat saying men die in wars, conflicts all the time. Men's life is considered disposable in most societies. Yes. Good men also fight for women. Men's life also matters. I agree. I agree.
Mm. Good. Yeah, fight for everyone,
Yeah.
men and women.
No, the whole male disposability thing really does bother me. Um, David the Goliath, thank you for the super chat, David, saying Islamic hatred of Jews should not be called anti Semitism. It is religious hatred, not racial. European hatred for Jews is based on their ethnicity. That hasn't always been the case. That's
Yeah,
not
no.
been the case. Not
So
always. Why do you think
Islam
they were forcibly
itself,
converted in Spain? Like,
right? So David, you're right to say that Islam itself promotes hatred against the Jews on theological grounds, not on ethnic grounds. But that has among Muslims themselves, that has translated into anti hatred towards the Jews for ethnic reasons. Okay, the thing is that anti-Jewish hatred for for ethnic reasons is so deep rooted and it's so ancient that it just takes all of these other things like religious reasons, or I don't know, white supremacy, Nazis, whatever. They are just different excuses for the same hatred. If you actually go see within the Muslim community where you see anti-Jewish hatred, it's the same gut disgust reaction the the people, to these people's very essence, regardless of their ideology is just an excuse that comes after, right? So I do not believe that for a second. I don't think that most Muslims are saying believe that, oh yeah, I mean, we don't hate. Okay, I'm not gonna say that on YouTube because YouTube might think that I'm saying that, but you know what I'm saying. I think that this goes much deeper. The hatred for Jews goes much deeper. The hatred exists, and the excuses are either religious or racial supremacy. These are just excuses that comes after.
yeah. Um, I was in a museum recently and saw this giant painting of when the Jews were kicked out of Spain. It's like, oh yikes. Um,
Oh wait,
John,
I was watching a mullah just today while I was working out. The mullah was saying that we don't even treat Jews like that. And then he apologized. Well, he was on YouTube, right? And I was like, no, that's not what I meant. Jews are great, whatever. But the fact that he was saying not even Jews should be treated like that. And then he
that's his
apologized and said,
standard.
like, well, yeah, that's a standard. That's not how he thinks. Yeah.
He's like,
And this was
I
more
mean,
modern.
I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so John gave a super chat. Thank you for supporting the show, John. Saying, did y'all see that what they put up in the Iran embassy in Syria? They did the thing. Zan zandegi azadi. Now my Arabic is gonna suck. Mara haya huria. Secularists are legion.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think I maybe saw this. I'm not sure, but John, can you email this to me? I
I
want to
did a
see it
stream
for
on
real.
it. Members only. I did a members only stream on it where I covered this. So John, because you're a member, you would be able to see that. Guys, if you are a member, if you just got a membership gift, go watch my member only streams. These are some streams that we do for members only as a way to appreciate them. Just go to the membership section and watch that. I'm gonna do more members only streams. At some point, I'm gonna get to the point where I do at least once a week. I do one members only stream a week. Okay, so guys, become members. because you get access to more streams and more videos from us. Yeah. Look, the cat lady saying, I feel appreciated. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make our members feel like they are appreciated, because they are appreciated. They should be. Yeah, this is for you guys.
Oh, 100%. Dan gave a super chat saying Christianity, Islam both stole Jewish stories to advance their religions, but they hate Jews for rejecting their prophets. They can't digest that.
Okay, I know. Can I be nitpicky? Dan
Yeah,
is keep
don't be
giving us super
nitpicky.
chat.
Do it.
Okay, so they didn't. Okay, so I'm anti-Islam. Okay, but this is not stealing. I know people say that and they don't really mean it, but it's not the all religions. Christianity and Judaism also took their ideas from the religions that came before them. This is just part of evolution of memes. This is not stealing, because none of these myths are copyrighted. These are not intellectual property. Also, stealing suggests that you took something and that person lost something, right? Like if I steal something from you, I now have it and you don't. So technically, these are not stealing. This is just how mythology evolves. All mythology evolves in the same way. It comes from the ideas that were before it. Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Roman mythology is based on Greek mythology, right? Or do we see that Romans stole from the Greek? No, they were inspired by the Greek. So yeah, as anti-Islam. I'm more anti-Islam than most people in the world. I just don't think stealing. Islam has stolen a lot. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
This is just like copying. Yeah.
Okay, and then Dan gave another super chat. Thank you, Dan, saying, what happened to the Muslim majority in Spain? Were they all converted to Christianity? A good thing, I guess. Imagine Spanish jihadists. So look, I'm no expert in this history. This is something that evolved over literally centuries. So they were pushed back out of the Iberian Peninsula, and then at some point they were like all the way pushed back, and then it was fully under Spanish rule, but there were still Muslims there. Some of them were expelled, and some of them were forcibly converted, and those are called moriscos. But look, I have a very elementary understanding, but it is a history that I'm interested in learning more about. So, really go look it up yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want this person that you start next. I wanna
Oh,
ban
no,
this
we don't have to
person.
go into that. I was just starring that so we can chit chat about it behind the scenes because I thought this was hysterical.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.